Want to know the number one reason your content isn't getting results? I see it all the time. Business owners diving into content planning, color-coded editorial calendars, and posting schedules without the one thing that could actually transform their scattered content into a strategic success story. And that is a clear content strategy. In this video, I'll show you why slowing down to speed up is the ultimate secret weapon to content that converts, and reveal my simple 5P framework that will turn your content from random acts of marketing into a purposeful business building machine. And the best part is it all fits on a single page. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I help business owners create content that actually converts. You know, the kind that builds your audience, grows your email list, and yes, actually makes sales. Today, I'm walking you through my one-page content strategy framework that will help you get crystal clear on exactly what content you should be creating, where you should be sharing it, and more importantly, why. This isn't about complicated spreadsheets or fancy tools, although I do love those too. It's about getting to the foundation right so everything else falls into place. Make sure to download the template in the description, grab a notebook, and let's get started. A content strategy is focused on the why behind your content and gives guidance on the what, who, where, and how of your content plan. One of the biggest mistakes I see business owners make with their content is not defining their strategy before jumping in to content planning. When you create or plan your content without a strategy, you may feel like you're chasing different tactics and platforms without understanding exactly how they support the bigger picture and your business goals. You may also lack clarity on your ones, your one person and one problem that your content is speaking to and about. You're likely tracking metrics that don't actually matter, or tracking nothing at all because it's so overwhelming choosing what matters and what doesn't. And you may be feeling underwhelmed by the results that you're getting from content, or if you are hitting it big with your posts, videos, and emails, it feels a bit like a fluke that you stressed yourself out about recreating. You might be one of the many people who love jumping to content planning and get so eager to jump to the what of posting, thinking that you don't want to waste any time. But this is one of those slow down to speed up scenarios, because with the right strategy before you get to planning, you'll get to the right results much, much quicker. Another thing that may be preventing you from creating an actual content strategy to guide your editorial calendaring is a lack of clarity about what a content strategy even is, or maybe you're overthinking it. You might be making it much more complicated than it actually needs to be. There are actually only 5 P's that you need to remember when creating a simple, it's just one page, content strategy that actually works while eliminating overthinking. Section number 1 in the template is for your purpose, your content purpose. This is where we want to get clear on the goals of your content, because we shouldn't start picking things like your platforms or pillars until you know what it is that you're trying to achieve. So what kind of results are you trying to get? And before you give some make more sales answer, let's break it down even further and tie it back to the journey that people typically take with your content. Here's an example from my own business. My main content objectives are grow my email list, since I want to own my list and not be at the mercy of social media platform changes. This also has a predictable and relatively high ROI compared to other marketing channels. So that's goal number 1, grow my email list. Number 2 is to drive traffic to my website. Since I've seen a direct correlation between unique website views and purchases. And then finally, number 3 is to make sales with my content, lead people, attract the right people who are potential customers for my offers, and use my content to guide them in that relationship. Well, making sales is my bottom line objective. I do run a business after all, and content is just a tool within that business. There are other content goals that feed into the whole sales goal. So what are your 3 to 4 overarching objectives that you're trying to achieve with your content? Section number 2 is for your one person. So while you can absolutely focus on serving more than one person in your business, many people do, whether it's different segments or experience levels, your job will be a lot easier and your messaging much more clear if you're talking to just one person. If having more than one ideal client avatar is unavoidable, a couple of things to keep in mind. Number 1, you may want to create multiple content strategies geared towards each one of those different personas. And number 2, you might have a main person that you mostly speak to in your content. And since no one can be 100% 100% match to that, there will be people outside of that narrow definition who will find their way to you. For the purposes of the strategy, I would recommend getting started with your main squeeze. So who is that one main person who 80% of your customers fit into, or persona? We want to outline 2 things in your one-pager strategy for that one person. First, I want you to write your one-person statement. So my audience persona is a blank identifier. Maybe it's a busy mom of high schoolers, an interior design enthusiast trying to DIY design their home, experienced business owners trying to scale to the next level in their business. This statement includes 2 things: who they are, the identity that they relate to, and what they are trying to do. Second, we want to start mapping out their journey with you, your business, and your content, including before they find you, immediately after finding you, regularly consuming your content, first purchase, then loyal and repeat customers, or some version of those milestones for you. So then we're going to take a quick pause on the customer journey map and move on to the one problem before we come back here. Section number 3 is your one problem and the related problems it opens up. So if you had to sum it up, what is the one big problem that your one person is struggling with and looking to you for support with? I'm a big believer in not just building a business, but finding a problem to solve and then building a business around that problem. I'm not sure who said the quote. Actually, I think it's unattributed, but one that I love is sell the problem you solve, not the product you offer. Usually this overarching problem is going to be something that's a bit more general and wide-reaching. Then you're going to be able to get more specific about the related problems this opens up, can of worms style, for your one person. Here's an example from my own business. So my one person is struggling with getting consistent with their content. So that's the big overarching problem. I'm struggling to get consistent with my content. All of my content in some way, shape, or form relates back to that, even if I'm not overtly saying it all the time. In fact, I rarely say it at all because people don't really like consistency, but it's really consistency that gets us the results we need. The specific problems that this one problem opens up are: I'm not seeing results with my content, whether that's sales or audience growth or traffic. You're not having a working funnel or any funnel at all because it's been abandoned, not having content systems in place that make staying consistent easier. There are about 1 million, no joke, offshoot problems that my one problem opens up. So in the problem section, I want you to come up with your one overarching problem and then 3 to 5 specific problems this brings up. So this is where I try to get strategic though and use my one problem to come up with my content pillars or categories. So back to my example, my one problem is struggling to get consistent with their content, and my 3 to 5 specific problems or content categories are lack of a working sales funnel, incomplete or overcomplicated systems, and MIA, missing in action, content strategies. After you have your one problem and problematic pillars picked out, revisit the customer journey map from section number 2. At each of these milestones that we identified, what are 2 to 3 ways this one problem is showing up for them? You can put down how they're struggling with the problem, the thoughts they're having about it, or what they're making it mean, emotions they're feeling, or even specific words that they're saying about that problem at that particular stage, pulled from market research or interviews. This is the psychographics, which in my opinion are way more interesting and powerful than basic demographic information in your marketing and your content. Section number 4 is where you'll figure out your platforms. And you want this to be a mix of where you like to show up and also where your one person actually is. There's no point cranking out content on a platform that your person will rarely frequent. And by doing so, you can be making things a lot harder for yourself than they have to be. So here is what to do. I want you to write down where you're going to publish your long form content. Start there. Then write down one platform where you're going to engage with your audience and have two-way conversations. Next, write down one platform or strategy that you'll use to attract an audience to your business and get your business and your content in front of new people, and one platform or strategy where you're going to sell. Here's an example. For me, these are YouTube and my website for my long form content, Instagram, where I engage with my audience, Facebook ads, where I attract new people to my audience, and email, where I do the majority of my selling. So you can put any number of platforms that you like. This is just an easy way to streamline things and choose your platforms strategically, getting more ROI from showing up in less places, thus by therefore making it less overwhelming. If you want to learn more about this, it's called my Ease Content Strategy Framework, and it represents the only 4 platforms and strategies that you need, and I'll put the link to it in the description of this video. So pick your platforms and identify what is the main goal for each one and what type of content you're going to be publishing on these platforms. This provides the parameters that you'll use once you shift into content planning mode. Finally, section number 5, performance. I've seen maybe 5% of strategies over the last 10 years not need some pretty big tweaks after rolling them out in the real world. After all, strategy is an experiment, which is why the performance piece is so critical. This is where we identify your top KPIs, and I'm not tracking 100 different things, but 3 things for each goal that indicate to you this strategy is working or the strategy might need some tweaks. So revisit your purpose section, and for each one of those goals that you chose, identify 3 metrics. Number 1 is your lagging metrics. So this is the result metrics, and they're often binary, like I hit this or I didn't. Then we want to come up with your leading metrics. So these are basically the pre-indicators for your progress towards your goal. These things you have a bit more control over than the result metrics. Then we have your input metrics. So these are your actions. These are the things that you're doing and the targets that you're setting for your strategic actions that impact that leading metric, which then impacts the lagging metrics. These are the ones that I have the most control over. You have the most control over. So maybe this will get more clear. Let's use an example. So for my goal number 1, which is growing my email list, the lagging metric, aka the result metric, is my email list size or the number of people added that particular week or month. The leading metric is the unique views of my opt-in page, and the input metric could be the amount of money that I spent on lead gen ads. So there you can kind of see the difference. What I'm putting in, what's happening as a result, and how it's impacting that bottom line number. For goal number 2, driving traffic to my website, the lagging metric is the website traffic. The leading metric is the number of impressions of my content in emails, so the opens and or impressions on social media. So how many people are seeing that opportunity to go back to my website? The input metric is the number of posts or the emails that I've sent, right? So that's my action. That's what I'm doing. For goal number 3, making sales, the lagging metrics is the number of sales or could be the dollar amount of sales. The leading metric could be the number of unique views of my sales page or the number of people entering my sales funnel. The input metric depends on the strategy. It could be the number of sales emails I've sent, number of DM conversations I've had, or amount of money spent on purchase ads. For each of these, there might be multiple options of things that you could track, but limit yourself to just one thing. So for input metrics specifically, ask yourself, what is the number 1 way that I'm actively driving results right now? And decide on your input metric based on that. Before we wrap up today, I want to share something with those of you who are ready to take your content strategy to the next level. If you're thinking, this is great, but I want personalized insights for my specific business, I'm offering my What Got You Here, Won't Get You There marketing review, where I'll dive deep into your current marketing and identify at least 3 key opportunities that you can implement right away to start trending things in the right direction and hitting your goals. So this isn't just generic advice, it's a custom roadmap based on what's working and what's not in your business right now. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content strategy tips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.